I was coming into this season saying this is the best Celtic squad I've ever seen in my life, from number 1 to 25. And honestly, I'm getting close to words for how amazing Ange Postecoglu and the team at Celtic are doing in the transfer market recently. We've got 4 credible, decent centre-backs. We go out and get centre-back number 5 from Vissel Kobe in November. A left-footer with high promise, a high ceiling, who should activate and unleash a lot of the potential that we've got on the left-hand side of the pitch already. 3 of our best players play out there: Greg Taylor, Rio Hatate and Jota. And then we've got 2 right-backs, both of them international calibre, one of them highly sought after in the transfer market. We don't wait for him to get sold. We don't wait to see what the fee is. We just go and get another international right-back in the form of Alistair Johnston from Montreal. And all the chat and all the rumour mill stuff now is we're going to go get another striker, we're going to get another forward, maybe we're going to get another attacking midfielder come into the squad. And I'm pinching myself, is this Celtic? Or is this like me playing Football Manager back when I was a kid? That is how it feels. The business that we're doing is amazingly proactive and it's amazingly astute from all the different markets that we're tapping into. So in the video today, I want to look at the Celtic squad and really see, is there places for these extra forward positions? If there is, does that maybe mean somebody else is leaving? Where do we need reinforcements? Where are we a wee bit too heavy? And who is likely to be closest to the door out? At any point in the video today, if you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and let's get stuck into it. Now, all the stuff around the depth and the options we've got in defence, I think has been done to death. I listen to lots of Celtic fan media, and I think everyone's pretty much saying the same stuff about right-backs and centre-backs and who could come and who could stay and all the rest of it. The only thing I would want to throw out there that I would be interested to hear your take on, I'd be interested to hear your take on the whole video, of course, but in particular, no one is talking about the potential for Ralston to be sold. Now, as we've seen in many transfer saga gone by, whether it be any team in Scotland or even just in world football, deals don't always happen. Maybe we ask for too much money for Juranovic. Maybe Juranovic asks for too much money himself. In which case, we're then landed with 3 right-backs. And, you know, selling Ralston for a couple of million is maybe a bit easier than selling Juranovic for 12 million. We then keep Juranovic, he can play left back as well. He's a Croatia international, he makes our team better. And we have him in his peak years of his career for the next 2 or 3 seasons. I'm not hearing anyone discuss that as an option. Let me know your thoughts. Midfield is always the part of the pitch I'm the most interested in. Now, we're very densely populated, and the categorization of some of the players, you know, is maybe a wee bit abstract. You know, like Haksabanovic, Forrest, and I don't know why Yuki Kobayashi is still showing as Opta is on our squad. I would put those guys more in the kind of forward category, you know. But if we just centre in at midfield, who's on screen now basically is the fringe, you know, the extra pieces that we've got. Abelgard, who has been brought in to be the centre defensive mid, you know, the rock shield guy at the back. And Ange is on record as saying he expects him on signing to be a second half of the season addition, you know, so let's see how he performs in the second half of the year. Scott Robertson, Ideguchi and James McCarthy have been sharing bugger all minutes, and I kind of expect that to continue because Callum McGregor is back to fitness, and the form and the confidence, the form that's been shown by David Turnbull whenever he gets in, I don't see Turnbull like losing minutes or anything like that. Rio Hatate, of course, and Matt O'Reilly are the first choice midfield pairing alongside McGregor. But in Turnbull and Moy, I see a great mirror image that Ange likes to use. And we see this substitution happen the 60th, the 65th, the 70th minute all the time, where it's Turnbull and Moy on, and O'Reilly and Rio off, you know, and that's like clockwork almost. So I feel like with the midfield 6 that we've kind of laid out there, with Abelgard, McGregor, and then the other 4, we've got 6 mids there that could play in a first team midfield for us, with enough kind of edge pieces around here that could do something. Now, the midfielder that we're kind of linked to the most is a guy playing in Iran or Saudi Arabia or something like that. I forget his name. It's like Ashraf or something like that. And he is meant to be like a bit more of a creative El Mago kind of guy. And we definitely need if Haksabanovic isn't going to play in midfield, if he is going to be a front three player, then we definitely need someone who can play in that number 10 role, who has a bit of magic, who does have a bit of guile, and who can do the unexpected. Jota is by far and away the best player at the club, and he can do all those things from the wide and left position. Matt O'Reilly, when he plays attacking mid, very much takes up this De Bruyne role, where he goes right next to the striker, whether it's Kyogo or Giakoumakis, does a bit of forward pressing, and will link up the midfield two in McGregor and Rio to the attacking three, and then any fullbacks that come into the picture as well. O'Reilly's got great vision, he's got great technique, and all-round an amazing player, but you wouldn't describe him as a magical attacking midfielder. He's very much a robust, cool, calm and collected kind of figure, isn't he? Rio Hatate, we do see little glimpses of that in him, but Ange plays him very much more as a box-to-box number 8 type, whereas I think the missing piece that we've got here in midfield is that attacking midfielder. Now, with the amount of money that we've got floating around, yes, I know we're after a profile, we're after guys that are like 24 or under typically. Maybe they've got something to prove and all the rest of it. But for that kind of magical position, I'm just going to throw random names out here so I can illustrate my point. But I wouldn't mind us spending a lot of money wage-wise on a real maverick who has experience to their name. Like in the window we just seen there, Juan Mata, for example, leaves Man United and goes to Turkey. Now, I'm not saying we could pay for Juan Mata, or Isco, or Mesut Ozil, or David Silva, but there's guys like that floating around Europe. Mario Götze played for PSV for 2 seasons. There's guys like that are floating around it. If you pay them enough, and it's a nice enough situation, and they're going to play Champions League football, then they'll come to your team. And I think that that's a position, and that's a profile that if we are, if Juranovic and Giakoumakis leave, right, which is the main ones everyone's talking about, very experienced figures, you're going to bring another experienced guy in. Where did they go? We've kind of got great options everywhere else of young up-and-coming players or players in their peak position, whereas maybe not a veteran, but somebody who is at the back end of their 20s, early 30s, who has that profile that I'm describing, that magic in attacking midfield, who understands they're not going to play 60 games either, and they know the project that they're coming here to be a part of. I think that's something I would very much like to see. Failing that, I would very much like to see Haksabanovic perhaps play a bit more in midfield, and the reason I say that, right, is again, listening to lots of different conversations going across Celtic fan media and all the rest of it, a lot of people are now reassessing Daizen Maeda. Now, if we do expect Giakoumakis is unhappy with his contract, and the latest reporting suggests that a deal will actually inevitably be thrashed out, but everyone is questioning Maeda. We can see the quality in him, but where do you play him and how do you get the best out of him? It's really hard to say. For me at the moment, I think Ange's preferred front three is Jota, Kyogo and Haksabanovic, and then we've got a real second string front three there of Maeda, Giakoumakis and Abada. So getting another forward in here, we've still got Forrest as well knocking around, and we've still got youth players like Rocco Vata and a few other guys knocking around that could maybe just get that wee 10 minutes against Greenock in the Cup or whatever. So in the actual forward positions, again, if Haksabanovic is going to stay in the front three, I don't see the space for it. So I think Haksabanovic's role in the second half of the season will really tell us a lot about where the manager suspects we need to improve. We've of course been linked with the Korean forward. Again, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name. And he is seen much more as a Giakoumakis type, a big centre forward who can play middle of a front three and link up the options. So it's nice to see that we've got defence really sorted. I think we can all agree that defence is pretty much rock solid at this point. Maybe Turnbull could be sold, and that's maybe the only one where he's been given chances. The manager does seem to believe in him, but he does firmly know, similar to Giakoumakis, that he is second in the pecking order, and there's only so long a player can go on in that vein. So again, I suspect if they suspect there's room for Turnbull to leave, that another attacking midfielder could fill his shoes. But going into the second half of the season, I honestly expect Celtic to run away with the league. Now, the fixtures we've got from when we start back after the World Cup, all the way up to the Glasgow Derby, basically, if we win all those games, then I think we're basically rocking into New Year, beginning of January with, job done, home and hosed, and we can really focus on the cohesion, the patterns of play, and getting into that rhythm of being absolutely clinical, because the level we need to unlock in the second half of the season is knocking out huge goal scoring figures. We need to be beating teams by 4, 5, 6 and 7 with some sort of regularity, so that next year when we go back into Europe, we can see that we've had remarkable improvements going into the next campaign versus when we went into the last one. That's all the progression we can ask for on the big picture stuff. And on the here and the now, of course, it's all about domestic domination. Make sure that we go and get that league across the line, because with Beale coming back in across the river, Rangers will be better. I don't think there's any getting away from that. I think they will be better than what they were under Van Bronckhorst. Even just having that, cloud lifted and it's a familiar face. Most of the guys know him from when they won the league and, whatever. I think they will be better. That Rangers team that Beale, had some success or being involved with was really centred around beating every other team in the league. And I expect that to return from Rangers. So over this first kind of cycle that we get of fixtures, I'm just looking forward to seeing the guys going best 11 every game and really knocking it out the park. And if we can keep these additions coming in and making the squad stronger, it's such an exciting time to be following Celtic at the moment. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Let me know what your expectations are for the transfer window. Who will be leaving and who will be staying? And how good could we be this season, really? Let me know down in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this one. Do not forget to like, subscribe, share, and retweet, and all that good stuff.